Welcome back to another episode of What It's Really Like to Be an Entrepreneur. I'm Vincent Lanci, speaker and author of the book Left for Dead, A Story of Redemption. Want to know what it's really like to be an entrepreneur? Well, you came to the right place. Whether you're already an entrepreneur or looking to start your journey tomorrow, or just someone who needs a little extra motivation to get through the day, this is the perfect podcast for you. This is the place where you will learn exactly what it's like in the world of entrepreneurship and hear authentic stories from entrepreneurs grinding on each episode. My goal for this podcast is to help you realize that giving up is never an option. If you missed the last episode, be sure to download it after you tune in today. Before I introduce my guest, I'll share another entrepreneurial story to inspire you all. Today, I'll introduce the entrepreneurial journey of Nate Martin, CEO and co-founder of Puzzle Break. So Martin's the co-founder of the first American escape room that was back in 2013 called Puzzle Break. I wanted to start this right up with one of his quotes. And prior to founding Puzzle Break, I completed my undergraduate degree after 9 years and one dropout with a stellar 2.59 GPA. Additionally, and unsurprisingly, I was rejected by all but one MBA program. Thankfully, I had a better time with business than with academia. And I thought this was important to include for all of you listening on because sometimes people are better off in the workplace making it happen. He started this company in 2013 with just a $7,000 investment, and he's now a Business Journal 40 under 40 honoree. He's also touched on in the article how now the investment is much higher as expectations about escape rooms have grown. And, he's a graduate from DigiPenn Institute of Technology, a former poker player, and he was a senior executive at Microsoft and Electronic Arts before Puzzle Break. So he had this experience, molded it into his own company. Puzzle Break boasts a 7-figure revenue and 100% year-over-year growth with no debt or startup funding. Hey, Sacha, what'd you like best about that story?
I mean, I think that's a really fantastic story because it kind of shows you that contrary to popular beliefs, you don't really need that much money, to start up, to create a multi-million-dollar venture, because the guy started off with $7,000. Now he has a multi-million-dollar venture, So it just goes to show you that, sometimes it's not about finding the money to start. It's just about getting started.
I think that's great advice right there because a lot of people feel that things are supposed to happen overnight, right? They're supposed to just happen, but that's not the case in entrepreneurship.
No, never.
That voice you all just heard, that's the sound of today's guest. My guest on the show today is someone I met back at University of Tampa during an awards ceremony about a month ago, and he's an entrepreneur from Haiti, thriving over there, so I had to have him on the show. I had the chance to learn a little bit about his company, Mr. Cha-Cha, which he's grown significantly. This brand is taking off on Facebook. All the way from Haiti, he's got over 33,400 likes. I had him have him on the show to learn more, so allow me to please introduce Sacha St. Sacha, thanks for coming on my show.
Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure. The first time I'm kind of doing an interview, so I hope I can help out and give some advice out there.
Oh, you're going to do great, man. Would you mind please introducing yourself to our listeners who don't know you and previewing your story a bit without giving just too much away of that entrepreneurial journey?
Of course, man. So my name is Sacha St. I'm 26 years old. I'm from Haiti. I graduated at the University of Tampa, and I majored in entrepreneurship, and I had a minor in finance in 2015. And today I'm the founder and the CEO of Mr. Cha-Cha, as you just said. And Mr. Cha-Cha is a 3-year-old company that is mainly focused on the importation and distribution of secondhand goods, mostly clothing and shoes. And now after 3 years, we're one of the top importers and distributors in that sector. So it's been a lot of a roller coaster ride, but so far so good.
Absolutely. Well, I'm definitely interested to learn all about this journey, Sacha. And what I do on each episode, it's called the Big Five. On each episode, my guest and I will go over these 5 questions to help you, the listeners, learn what it's really like to be an entrepreneur. You ready to go?
Yeah, man. Let's go.
Great. So when did you realize that you either weren't happy with what you were doing or that you just needed some kind of change to truly start this entrepreneurial journey? Take us down that path.
Man, I think it kind of starts ever since I was a kid. So I kind of have this memory of my mom dropping me off to school, and then I would ask her, what what you think, what is the best job? And I'm talking about like I was probably, I don't know, man. I don't want to put a number, but probably I think I was definitely in elementary school. And I'm asking her, what's a good job out there? What do you think is a good job to have? And she told me, in her opinion, I should probably own my business and in the future, because there's nothing better than owning your own business. And I have to tell you, my parents were great, hardworking people. They had both high position management positions in two good companies in Haiti, but they didn't own their own business. So, it kind of stuck to my mind. And then ever since then, I've just been, always, I would say hustle around in school, selling candy, selling pens, making mixtapes at the time. And, anything I can make, a buck on. And then I guess that's where I went to school. I got into the entrepreneurship program, and then it got to me, And then from there, in school, I would always find, different hustles here and there. Like I said, I was a promoter. I got into, in Haiti at the time, even though I was in college, I was doing, motorcycle leasing. So it was something that was bringing me income while I was in school. I was always, looking for something to make extra bucks. And then when I moved back to Haiti, I spent about 3 months in Haiti, where I was kind of, going around the market, because Haiti is one of the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. But I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. So I decided I wanted to go back home. I went back home. I didn't have any businesses that I could go to, because I didn't want to go work anywhere like for anyone. So I spent about 3 months. I had a partner at the time. We went around Haiti, just went, from province to province, state, or what you would call state, from like province to province, just trying to, city to city, trying to understand how people did business, because I was new to the business world. And then, kind of asking around, seeing products, speaking to people that had businesses. And after 3 months, me and my partner would just kind of like started doing stuff, like actually like, working. So I think we got into food products. We started importing some food products, because I wanted to work, with selling to the mass, basically, because I wanted to find affordable product that even the poorest people could buy, basically. So we got into the food product, we got into beverage, we got into detergent. We were getting into all kinds of stuff. We would lose money, make money, mostly lose. And then
sounds like an entrepreneur, yeah.
Yeah, man. And then we got into used shoes at the time, actually. We did 1 container of used shoes. It was everything we had, like all the money we had left, we put it into the used shoes together. And then that was, we're like, what, this has to be it, because, we've been losing some, we're making some, nothing was steady. So we tried that one, because we thought there was a market for it. And then when we shipped it, I guess we received it, we had no idea what we were doing. We ended up losing a lot of money on the shipment. So it's like, that was our last chance. And then we kind of lost it all. It's like, it's not exact figures, but like, if I was to give you an example, it's like we invested $25 and then we sold it for 10, basically. So, it was a big loss, So we kind of, at that point, we kind of stopped for a while, and then we didn't know what was going to be the next move. So his father, which is like, has a big business in Haiti, told us, why don't you guys come work for me? I'm trying to expand. I'm creating another department. I'm getting bigger. So I want you guys to like, kind of like structure my business and then make me to go to that other level, basically. But it kind of went against everything I kind of believed in, because I was like, I didn't want to work for anybody. I wanted to do my own thing, even if I had to lose. But at the time, I had a side business, which was like a lottery thing I was doing. And it wasn't requiring my full time. So I said, let me just go ahead, give it a try. So I said, okay, let me try to do it with him for 6 months. I told him I would give him 6 months just to, to kind of get his operation up and running. So in about 6 months, I did it. And then after 6 months, I was like, I'm just doing the day to day. It's like, I don't know. I wasn't recognizing myself, And then these guys told me if I wanted to renew the contract, I was like, no, it's not, because it's not for me. Like, I don't see myself doing that. But I guess they were kind of happy with their job. So they're like, you know what, let's come on, please stay. We'll give you shares in the company. And then, we can grow together in the new venture we're doing. But it wasn't for me, man. It wasn't my dream that I was building. So I said, you know what, I'm going to get out of it. And then, I told him, no, I was good. And my partner at the time, he's like, yo, so what are you going to do next? Because I'm going to stay with my dad. I'm like, I think I'm going to get back to that, that used clothing and used suit business. He's like, are you crazy, man? We just lost money on that. So how the hell are you gonna get back to it? I'm like, yeah, but we lost money, but it's not about business. I mean, we went about it wrong.
Right.
And then that's how I started. I think 5 days later, 5 days after, I stopped working with them, I flew out to Miami at the time, and then I went to the States, and then I kind of like made my first order again of the same stuff I had lost money on. That was actually went to Miami for that. I actually went to Miami to buy 1 container. I ended up buying 9 containers. Don't ask me how and why. It's like, when you're just kind of working, things like unfold.
Absolutely.
It's like, I went out there, and then my hopes was to buy 1 container, and I ended up buying 9. Didn't have the money for it. It's just like people were just, handing me out, I mean, not handouts, but I mean, helping me out, I guess. When I was explaining to them what I wanted to do, they were like, you know what, I'll help you out. I'll give you credit. This, here and there, like just kind of making things happen. And then that's how this business started, man.
I love it. I think there's a lot of great lessons there of resilience, persistence, and trial and error. A lot of things in entrepreneurship is you're doing it, you're messing up a little bit, you're doing it wrong, you take what you did right and you apply it again. And you get the next piece and you fail again, then you bring another. So I love all of that. But now that you're on this journey here, Sacha, what would you say 1 or 2 of the most difficult parts of being an entrepreneur are for you?
Man, I think it's all about being able to accept failure, because I think you get a lot of failure through your career, through your journey, and it's all about being able to fail and then fail fast and then get back up. I guess even if it comes down to losing money, being able to lose money, being able to make bad decisions, and then being able to live and then move on, because you're always going to be making, mistakes, and then you're going to lose from them. But those losses are just temporary. You just have to look into them and see the positive side, and then see the lessons that you can learn from them, and you just try to move on and get past it.
Well put. Well put. What would you say 1 more is here? Give us 1 more of these listeners on that big list of difficult items for us.
A very important thing as well is getting knowledge, man. Trying to educate yourself, because
let's talk about that.
I read a lot. I am somebody that I come home every night. I read a lot. Depending on the chapter of my life where I am, I'll read something that's related to that. So if I'm at a point where, I remember when I was in like the startup phase, I would read a lot of books about startups to understand what the startup life was like. Then when I got to to the expansion phase, I started reading books that would explain to me how to expand. Then when I got stuck in finance, I would get into finance. It's all about the stages of my life I am. So I would say it's like kind of not being able to go out there and ask for help, be able to seek help, whether it's from mentors, whether it's for people that, from books, from videos, from online training, seminars, anything. You could be able to ask for help, because without knowledge, it's hard to progress and move forward.
And it's another great lesson there, humbling yourself and accepting that you can't do everything yourself. You hear a lot of successful entrepreneurs come on the show and they talk about their team around them, the resources around them, the lessons they've learned, the books they've read. You can't be good at everything, so you have to find either someone else who is, or you have to learn a little more. And you sound like a career student, career entrepreneur. And we talked a little bit about failures here, Sacha. What would you say one of your greatest failures or lessons learned is? And what did it teach you? Why is it still stuck with you all the way up until today?
Man, I don't think there's one. There's probably many of them, because like I told you, even in the beginning, it was a lot of ups and downs. But there is one. I remember when I first started this business, I would say probably 1 year into it. It's like, when you're at a point where you feel like everything is just hitting you from left and right. Basically, if my timeline is correct, at the time, I had made I found this big, I guess, like a good sale. Basically, it was a good sale. It looked like a really good, something I could make money on. One of those that sound like too good to be true. What I guess it was too good to be true. And then I kind of I sold something to somebody, and then it was like a good deal for me. But ended up the person, it was how do you say that? He was, I don't know correct word in English, but it was a con artist.
Okay.
So basically I got conned. And then the person gave me he made up this whole thing, and then gave him a check, and then the check bounced. And then I'm calling the bank, and then they're telling me there's no company under such name. This check is a fake check. And then they're actually telling me that this guy is being investigated. So, it's like I got screwed basically.
Yeah.
And then I would say probably that, so it's like it was a big hit at the time. And so that was already, because I didn't start the business with much money. So, at the beginning, you're already tied up with cash flow. Cash is being tight. You're You have to monitor everything you're spending money on. So I lose that one. And then about 2 weeks later, one of my containers of shipments of my goods, the secondhand clothing, they come in, and then the container it had a leak. So everything in there is damaged, and there's nothing I can do with it. So it's like, even though I can get insurance, but I need the cash flow right now. This is,
Right.
when you're starting up, it's like, it's that money that you're expecting to play with, to roll with, so you can grow. So that was that one shipment that I was waiting for to come back from that check issue. And then that container is, like I told you, there was a leak, so I lose everything in it. I'm like, shit.
Man, what'd you do to bounce back there, though? What'd you do to bounce back from that?
Oh no, there's more to it. There's more to it. So I'm like, okay, so you know what? I think it comes down to not being able to not being scared of taking risks. So I kept moving, and I said, I kept fighting. And then I went again. I made another shipment with a different supplier at the time that I was starting with, which had given me, like, the first shipment was good. Second shipment was okay. And then this third shipment, which is about a month after, all this incident happens. It's like I got screwed again. So basically, what I paid for was not what I received. It's as if you're paying for like a $10 pair of glasses, and they give you a $1 pair of glasses. So I got hit again with that one. So it was like, damn, I'm getting hit nonstop here, left and right. But you know what, man? It's like, what I realized through that time is, like, all of this was temporary. So it was setbacks that were, setting me back temporarily. It was not defeat. It was just, obstacles that I had to go through to get to where I am today. So, every time I would just always, keep my head up, keep fighting, and then, learn from those mistakes, and then just keep pushing.
It's a great lesson. Like it's all about persistence with you. It's been the theme of our episode, where, you find something that doesn't work and you don't give up, you do it again.
Yeah. It's all about, being able to take those kind of hits day by day. And then, some days are going to be good, some days are going to be bad. But, you have to hold the faith that whatever you're doing is for the greater purpose, and keep that mission or that objective in your head to keep moving forward.
That's the thing. You got to just find a way to keep pushing. And once you start this world of entrepreneurship, once you get in that world, I should say, you realize that most of the time things aren't going to go your way, or you're going to fail, or you're going to have to find a new way to do it. So eventually you do become accustomed to it. So you always got to keep learning. But if you could learn from any entrepreneur, have a conversation with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Again, man, this question, that's a difficult one. The reason why I feel like there's so many people out there that I look up to. And I feel like, for me, it's not about that one person. It's about what each of them kind of has, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
For instance, I love Mark Cuban. I think he's a phenomenal entrepreneur. I love his energy, his dedication to whatever he believes in. So that's somebody, I look up to. And then, it's, like I said, it's all about, I think everybody has their own thing that you could look into. So, who else I could look to? I love Grant Cardone. I think he did an amazing work in the real estate sector.
Yes.
I also love Mike Bloomberg, which I think, he is like a phenomenal businessman that went into politics, which I think is a great thing also, because, I guess when you get to a certain level, you have to kind of help out, the country itself, or wherever is it that you come from. So, yeah.
I love how you talk about this too, because Sacha, you're like we talk, everybody has their strengths, right? Their weaknesses. You're picking out the strengths of these guys, pulling it in and making it your own, which is very, very admirable. And that's how you keep pushing as an entrepreneur. You constantly reinvent and pivot yourself. But let's look into the future here, man. Let's look 1 year and 5 years. Where do you see yourself in all of your entrepreneurial endeavors 1 year from today?
Right, man. It's a good question, man. I've always pushed myself to be better every day. And I do the same in my business, no matter the circumstances. For instance, Haiti has been going through a lot of political and economical crises for the past, I would say, 3 to 4 years. So, but it never stopped me, from moving forward and from growing my business. And I've been growing exponentially. So I expect to do the same now, even though we're going through this time that we're going through right now. So I want to be greater than I am today. 1 year from today, I definitely want to be, 10 times more than I am right now, and push my business. I had to put a lot of goals for this year. So I'm still aiming to get to these goals no matter the circumstances, even though we're right now stuck home with the COVID situation, but I'm still pushing and still trying to open as much as I can to keep pushing forward and move forward. So I definitely want my team to be bigger. I want, my business to be bigger. And I'm also looking to get into other projects, especially, overseas.
Any idea what those projects might be? What field?
I'd rather for now, I'm still working on them. So nothing official. But in a 5-year period, I'm really looking into getting international, in the sense that I don't know how yet, or with what product, or even what services, but I want to be international in the sense that I want to be able to export, whether it is my services or my products or even my business,
right,
everywhere, be international, be all over the globe, because I feel like right now it's easier to be everywhere at the same time. So
well, you have a big vision. You got to have a broad mind. You can't be narrow-minded in entrepreneurship. You constantly, because it's your passion, right? This isn't just a 9-to-5. This is something you believe in. So you see this world evolving from it. But I love it, man. Thank you so much, Sacha, for coming on my show today. I know the listeners are going to see all the value in your show. I enjoyed how you started the show, and you really took us into that journey of how you came up. You started out hustling in school, mixtapes, selling different things, trying to make money. You knew the 9-to-5 wasn't for you, so you didn't try to force something. You went ahead and you did what you needed to do, what you thought you could thrive at, and your business is certainly doing well. And I also liked your story of the failure, how you were honest with that, because that's a good story for everybody, because it can happen to anybody, and it kind of just have to know how to combat those situations, and you did a great job at that. But it's time for the last word. Is there something you'd like to share with our listeners today that we did not get to touch on yet here?
I would say, man, for me, it doesn't matter what you're trying to do or what your goal is, but I think you have to think big enough. You don't need to know how you're going to get there, but you just have to know that you're going to get there. So it doesn't matter, like, if you have no money, or if you have like all the odds are against you. Whatever you want to do, just put yourself out there, try to make it happen, believe that you're going to be able to make it happen. And I believe that you're going to make it happen. That's what I would say. It's not about, you don't necessarily need to know every step of how it's going to happen. Just trust that it's going to happen, and believe yourself enough that you're willing to fight and move everything so that
I love it. I love the positivity. It's contagious, man. You're a grinder. You're definitely going to inspire people on here today. But would you mind please sharing your professional social media ways for everybody to follow this journey you're on?
Of course, man. I'm not much of a social media guy, but I'll give you my business's Facebook page. It's KAY, so that's K for house and Creole, which is my language. MR, which is Mr. Chacha, CHACHA. So I'm going to repeat that. It's KAY space MR space CHACHA. Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, man. All right, Vincent, thank you for having me, man. One more thing I want to add before I leave is, I remember once I was reading a book. It's called "It's Not About the Money," and then they said it goes back to what I was saying earlier about you don't really need money to create a multi-million-dollar venture. And it says that contrary to beliefs, creating wealth has to do with your mind, your attitude, and the way you think. Money is just a piece of paper, so it only has the value that you give it. You don't need to focus on what all you need to do is focus on what you're doing, not on the money. Money is just going to be an outcome and a goal. And I mean, not a goal. It's going to be an outcome of whatever you're doing.
Love it. Everybody be sure to check that out. And also remember to check out the show on LinkedIn at What It's Really Like to Be an Entrepreneur. And we're also over on Instagram and Facebook at Your Favorite Morning Podcast. Of course, my handles are at Vincent A. Lanci on all social media and YouTube. And if you want to check out the show on Twitter, we're at Podcasts by Lanci. Be sure to check out my book, Left for Dead, A Story of Redemption, on Amazon now. But DM me or email me. I do want to hear what y'all think. If you enjoyed today's episode, please continue listening and rate What It's Really Like to Be an Entrepreneur 5 stars. I work hard to find value delivering stories for you on each episode. As always, I will end the show with a quote that inspired me and know it will for you too. And this one is from Nate Martin, the entrepreneurial spotlight from today's story and CEO and co-founder of Puzzle. Make something now. You don't need to wait for that degree or that funding or that job. Just sit down and make something today and go from there. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you all on the next episode of What It's Really Like to Be an Entrepreneur.